Hello, everyone, and welcome to On Crack, where sleeping is your new best friend. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 5th episode of On Crack.
Woo!
I am.
That's half a century.
Whoa. No, that's 5. It's half like a decade in years. A century's 100 years. Stop eating the popcorn. I am your co-host, Piper.
I'm Molly.
Your other co-host.
That's right.
Today, the topic.
My favorite co-host.
Oh, guys. Oh, okay. I am. The theme of today's episode is movies and TV shows.
Our favorite.
Yay! I can put in a crowd cheering sound effect. No, I was gonna put it in.
Oh, well, I guess.
So anyways, we're gonna be talking about our favorite movies and TV shows. And we're have popcorn, so sorry.
Oh, that actually fits the theme.
Sorry if we're making Sorry if we're making you hungry.
Piper gets hangry if she doesn't have snacks during the podcast.
Yeah, but
apparently.
I don't tell you guys about it.
She doesn't tell you, but like we can sense it. She comes upstairs and she's like, I wanna eat!
I do want to eat. Oh, Perry.
Hi, Pear baby.
We've got our cat with us.
She's docile today, hopefully.
Not for long.
Would you like a piece of popcorn, baby?
Should we start with shows we both watched and then go into shows that the other?
No, I want to start by talking about Ponyo.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna go with The Good Place, but
I'm not a huge anime fan, but there is one that I have loved since young childhood, and it's called Ponyo. It's a Studio Ghibli. I probably mispronounced that wrong.
Ghibli.
Tomato. Film about a fish and a boy
In love,
madly in love. They're both like
mostly
5 years old.
on the girl's side though.
Yeah, she escapes from her evil sorcerer father, and she washes up on the shore.
Who's played by Nicolas Cage
in the dub, yeah. And she washes up on the shore, and she's like, this is gonna have spoilers. Actually, no, it won't. Actually,
yes, it will. Betty White.
Betty White's in it. Oh, she's nuts. So she's escaping. She's like swimming her little fish body,
and
through the ocean. She gets stuck in a glass jar, and she washes up on the shore.
She turns from a fish.
Shush! I haven't gotten there.
I'm sorry.
And this little boy named Sosuke finds her.
Sosuke.
and he breaks open the glass jar to save her, but he cuts his thumb, and she licks it, and then it heals.
This explains so many things now. I've watched this film so many times.
And so he sticks her in a bucket and brings her everywhere with him, and they love each other clearly. And this is still at the beginning of the movie, but he loses her in the ocean because the dad is sending weird ocean waves to find her. It's just as weird as it sounds. But basically, she, in her father's evil lair, she drinks an elixir and becomes a human. And because of it, this huge tsunami, the world is out of balance and the moon is getting closer. So this huge tsunami and floods are starting to come everywhere. And Sosuke and his mom, his dad is away at sea. They're driving up to their house when the tsunami hits, and everyone's like, "Turn back!" And she's like, no way, no how.
I
can't be pressured. No way, no how. I botched that one. And as they're driving through the perilous waves up to their little house on the hill, Sosuke's like, "I see a girl out there!" And you look, and it's Ponyo as a little girl.
And she's a flippin' little girl. She got
running
feet
on the waves towards Sosuke.
On top of her sisterly brethren who are now giant fish.
Yeah, that's as far as I'll get, in analysis, because this is still pretty, beginning of the film.
Long story short, there's a tsunami, and
no, shush!
Her mom disappears, and then they have to go on a magical boat ride.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I guess that's the hooker. Perry?
She's playing with this that she found last time. This pipe cleaner jumble.
So, that movie was, super nostalgic, but we lost it for a long time. I watched it back when we had cable TV and you had to record things. So, once we lost cable TV, we didn't have it. But then we walked into a bookstore one day, and we saw it playing on the TV. And we were like, you know what? Let's buy it. So we did. And then we lost it again. But now we have options, so. Anyway, it's a super nostalgic film. It's like my childhood, and I love it. And it's just so, like, cute and whimsical. And just genuinely beautiful, so watch it if you would.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, your turn.
Movies? I've seen a lot of movies. Like, I'm not necessarily a movie person. Like, if someone will be like, let's watch a movie, I'll be like, no.
That's true.
Because I've never really liked watching movies because, like, you're sitting still. And I'm more of a, like, I'm gonna move around girl. And I also wasn't prepared for this, so I'll have to come up with something off the top of my head. Because I was more prepared for the TV show section than I was for the movies section. So, movie-wise...
Do you want to tell them about the one we watched last night?
Oh, sure, why not? We watched The Visit last night, which is an M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Horror movie.
Super good. M. Night Shyamalan movies are, like, probably, like, the horror movies that we watch the most. He's very good.
And it's, like,
We thought it was gonna be about possession.
It wasn't. It's like mockumentary style, like the Blair Witch Project.
I was gonna say that, you turd.
Why is our bowl of popcorn wet?
The butter.
There's butter?
It might have been recently washed.
Ew.
Anyways,
You could have the rest.
I will. So we watched it mostly because our parents were gonna be out of the house, and our sisters were gonna be out of the house because they were doing, like, a kids' night out thing. So we had the house to ourselves, and we got our parents to buy us, like, mozzarella sticks, Oreos, cookie dough, to, like, eat while binging the movie.
Big mistake. I always think I'm a sugar addict because Piper is, and then I get it, and I'm like, ugh.
I would have gladly taken it.
No. Your plate was still full.
I finished it by the end.
Whatever.
Anyways, so it's about how there's these two kids who are filming a documentary, and like Molly said, it's like mockumentary, like the Blair Witch Project, which I haven't seen, by the way.
Me neither.
And they're like, their mom is gonna go on a cruise, so she's taking her two kids, a 15-year-old girl and a 12 or 13-year-old boy, to go, like, spend a week
No spoilers.
Oh, boy. To spend a week with their grandparents in, like, the middle of nowhere. And so they go.
According to Piper, Pennsylvania is the middle of nowhere.
I didn't know it was in Pennsylvania, gosh. And they go, and
anyone from Pennsylvania, you should be offended.
the grandpa's like, you shouldn't be coming in the basement, there's mold down there, and you shouldn't be coming out around 9:30. And they're like, oh, that's a little bit sus. And so when the girl goes out to sneak cookies, the grandma comes out, and she's puking all over the place, downstairs. And so the whole point of the movie is how, like, you find out the grandma has this thing called sundowning, which is where, like, she gets really crazy at nighttime.
Like, literally crazy.
Yeah, and, like, the nights get really weird and the days get really weird. And then it's, like, just a progressive build-up to the last night, which is, like, the most intense night.
Piper, we watched it first by ourselves in the dark at night when we were the only ones in the house.
What's surround sound? Ew! Oh! I just wet.
I told you don't eat the wet popcorn.
Oh, it's so nasty. Keep going.
We watched it by ourselves at night in the dark, and then
With surround sound.
with surround sound, and then we ugh, there's a stain next to you.
It's because I pooped.
No, you
Just
didn't.
kidding. I did.
And then we watched it with our mom last night, and there were several parts where Piper was like,
I'm a pansy.
she was like, I'm gonna go, like, put away my cup of water, and
I did
you
have to
just
put
keep
away my
watching
cup.
without me, and my mom was like, if you're not in here, I'm not watching. And we had to, like, wrangle Piper back in
Sarah
to watch.
McLachlan.
Sarah McLachlan.
My favorite character of all was the boy. I can relate to him very deeply. He was a rapper. He called himself T Diamond Stylus. He said at one point in the movie that he was going to,
Start using celebrity names instead of cussing.
so, like, he would fall down and you go, oh, Sarah McLachlan! And at some points he'd go, Carrie Underwood, or, like, Shakira.
It was
It's
really,
really
funny.
funny. So that's The Visit. I'm not telling you the stuff.
It's a very scary movie,
It's terrifying. It's the most...
but it's also funny at parts, so.
Oh, very funny at parts, yeah.
Completely because of Tyler.
Okay, your turn.
Babe. Okay. I also like the movie The Little Prince.
You You were so prepared for this. What the heck?
No, this is all off the top of my
Are
head.
you kidding me?
No. I like The Little Prince, both the movie and the book. I thought the movie had an interesting take on the book. I really, I read the baby. She's like running on my back.
Ew.
Oh, she threw her toy onto my back and then
Keep
stole
going.
it from my back. I love the message of it, and I also, like, I remember faintly that I used to watch, like, a really old Little Prince TV show when I was really little at my grandparents' house, so it was already nostalgic, and then when the movie, we first saw it on Netflix, I was like, ah, and then I loved it, and then we watched it with my parents, and they loved it too. It's about, this girl, well, the book is about this little prince who lives on a planet scarcely bigger than himself.
Quoting much.
And he has to farm it all the time because if he doesn't, the baobab trees will grow.
You
which would
remember
be
this
disastrous.
term usage way better than I do. I was just trying to remember. I was gonna say prickle bush.
No, it's a baobab tree.
Baobab.
And while he's farming, he sees a seed, and it's a rose seed. So he plants it, and this rose starts to grow, and as it kind of comes alive. And they have this really toxic relationship, but they still love each other. They're just too young to understand how to love each other. So the little prince finds a pack of wild doves, and yes, they're in outer space. He finds a pack of wild doves and, like, flies away with them. Which is all the context I'll give of the book. In the movie, it's about this little girl who, her mom is, like, a huge busybody. Like, everything is scheduled. You have to be doing this at all times. No free time. And the girl's just used to this. She's trying to get into her dream school, but she failed the interview. So, they went to their plan B, which was to move to the neighborhood so that they'd have to accept her in the school based on where they lived. And that meant that she had the summer to prepare to join this new school. So she had this really rigorous 24/7 schedule that she had to follow. No weekends or holidays. Piper, stop slapping me or I'm quitting the podcast.
Oh, man.
And then one day, like, they've just moved in, and their house is next to this really crazy old mansion. And
It's not a mansion, it's just a big house.
A plane propeller crashes through the fence and into the house. And it came from the next door where she goes over her mom's not there, so she calls the police and they go over to investigate. It's this old man in aviator. By the way, none of the characters in this have names, which I love. They're just the girl, the aviator, the little prince, blah, 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 blah. And the aviator gives her a bunch of pennies. She goes home and she's sorting the pennies into, the next day, she's sorting the pennies
you could say he's Pennywise.
into dollar rolls. Babe.
That joke was really bad timed, and it did not work out. I apologize.
So she sorts them into dollar rolls, and she starts to find these little figurines, of, like, the little prince and the rose and all that stuff.
They're snuck into the pennies.
They're hidden in the pennies. And earlier, he had flown, like, a paper airplane through it, which unfolded into a story, but she'd just thrown it away. But now that she'd seen these figurines, she went and started reading it. And basically from there on, she became friends with the aviator, until something really tragic happens, and then she has to, like, go on this big adventure with her stuffed fox, which it comes to life.
I love the stuffed fox!
That's as far as I'll give you.
I tried to nominate him for an Oscar, but it didn't work.
Anyway, it's got some really good messages. It's deep. Yeah, just good messages, good feel, good vibe. Piper, your turn. Get over here.
Here I come. Be to buddy. No, I'm just kidding. That was weird.
Oh, wow.
Movies. I was gonna say Luca, but
You can.
I mean I can say Luca, but that feels really recent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels really recent.
What about when you like Christopher Nolan movies, like The Prestige?
No, what the heck?
That's a great one.
No, I'm trying to think of movies that we used to watch when we were younger. I thought Little Brother Big Trouble, but I can't talk about that one because I don't remember the plot or like most of anything in that movie. I mean, movie-wise, see, this is hard for me because I don't really watch movies. Like, I'm not a movie person. I definitely more of a TV show than a movie person, which just goes to show from how many movies.
We can just segue into TV shows.
Let's just segue into TV shows then.
Okay, go ahead.
Good Place.
Okay, you want to talk about The Good Place without giving away
The
big
hard.
twist?
So it's about how these 4 people. No. Dang it! This is hard.
Would you like me to?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can do Wednesday.
Okay. Good, because we both love The Good Place a lot. We watched it by ourselves, and now we're watching it with our parents.
Yeah, baby.
Basically, it starts with this lady, Eleanor Shellstrop, and she wakes up in the Good Place, which, as the Good Place architect Michael, who's basically in charge of the neighborhood where she's going to be living for the rest of her life, her non-life, as he says it, there's a good place and a bad place. It's not really about, every religion got about 5% right guessing what happens after death. Except for Doug Forsythe, who is a stoner kid
in the 90s.
who got really high and guessed like 92% of it, and he's like an icon in The Good Place. So basically, he walks her around, he's showing her this neighborhood. The Good Place has hundreds of thousands of neighborhoods. Each one has a specific number of people, and a different like look and vibe to it, specifically designed for those people to like get along for the rest of the afterlife. And to be in a neighborhood that they love, and so forth and so forth. And they're all amazing people. Her soulmate, who she meets, is named Chidi Anagonye, and he is a moral philosophy professor. And Michael introduces them, and also introduces Janet, who is basically the Alexa of the afterlife, and an all-around babe.
Heck yeah!
And she, as soon as they're gone, and it's just Eleanor and Chidi, she says, this is the first episode, so it's not really spoilers. And it's the concept of the whole show going forth. She's like, my name is Eleanor Shellstrop, but the memories playing on that TV over there aren't mine. I never went to Ukraine. I never saved people from death row.
No, I never went to the Ukraine.
I never went to the Ukraine. I lived in Arizona. I was an Arizona trash bag, and I am not supposed to be here. So, basically, the rest of the show, or at least the rest of the first season, because, like, every season, there's 4, it's finished, has a new concept that, kind of takes a spin-off of the last one, but they all still feel really interconnected, and even after the first season, they still feel like the first season. You know, the same group, yada yada. But basically, for the entire first season, Chidi has promised to help Eleanor learn to be a better person so that she doesn't get caught and sent to the bad place. But things go wrong all the time because Eleanor's there. Like, she steals all the shrimp at their welcoming party. And the next morning, like, there's this disaster happening. Shrimp are flying through the air. An Ariana Grande song she mentioned was playing.
The part where I say I don't want you, I'm stronger than I've been before. This is the part where I break free, 'cause I can't resist it no more.
Beautiful.
I know. I had to.
Yeah, and then you find out, this is slightly a spoiler, so if you want to skip ahead 10 seconds starting now, they find out Jianyu is the monk who lives with their neighbor is actually Jason Mendoza, and he's like Eleanor. So,
Yeah. That was a spoiler.
That was our spoiler. And, yeah, basically, that's the concept of the show, is them trying to figure out, or Eleanor trying to be a better person, and Chidi and Tahani and Jianyu. Jianyu and Tahani are the neighbors.
Yeah, baby.
And, yeah, it's just a really good show. It's got a lot of good morals and stuff, obviously. They're learning ethics.
I know so much about ethics right
Yeah,
now.
Piper and I know way cool stuff about, like, philosophy and ethics now.
Kids.
Because of this show. So that's really cool. Okay, Piper, you want to talk about Wednesday?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say this for those of you that
You
haven't.
gotta come closer.
Bring it closer. There we go. I know this is a very recent show, so I won't take too long going into depth on this, but basically it's another Addams Family, sequel, I would say. It's a TV show about the daughter, technically she's the younger daughter, but they make her the older in this. It's about the older daughter of the Addams Family, Wednesday.
You don't even need to say if she's older or younger, because she's the only daughter.
Oh. And she gets sent to Nevermore Academy, which is the school for, like, outcasts, weirdos, freaks. The people there are, like, sirens, werewolves, vampires, Medusa-type people, those type of things. And, oh, it's hard to explain. Basically, the whole plot of the first episode is her trying to escape from Nevermore, which she doesn't really succeed at. But, later, when there's a festival, she goes into the woods, and a dude, like, telepathically throws her onto a tree. And he shows her a picture that's like, you're gonna destroy the school, that his mom drew right before she died, and she was a seer, which is like someone who has visions. And then, right before Wednesday almost gets killed, Rowan, who is the kid that's about to kill her, gets murderously ripped to shreds by this monster, who, after killing Rowan, disappears mysteriously into the woods. The end.
That's it?
That was it. I mean, I can't say the rest of the episodes because spoilers, but it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix, and I'm not sponsored, but I should be.
Okay, let's talk about House MD.
Oh boy!
We watched this one with our parents. It was like a night thing.
It took us like a whole 5 months.
Yeah, it's a long show. It's got 8 seasons. Like each season has 20 episodes, and each episode like 40 minutes long. So, House MD is about this doctor. He's a really questionable guy. He's got a bad leg. He was in his leg muscles atrophied, and he had to have the muscle that atrophied amputated, which leaves him in a lot of pain. And he has to use a cane, and he's a Vicodin addict because of it. But he's not like your typical stoner. He's scary smart. He's like a savant.
He's literally based off of Sherlock
Holmes. And his friend Wilson is based off of Watson. We love Wilson. Wilson! Because pear.
She's
like, she knocked baby! Oh my gosh.
She's trying to knock over a lamp.
She's got the crazies today.
What does she not?
Because, Holmes, House, Wilson, Watson. They even live at the same apartment number. So clever! So House, he works at Princeton Plainsboro, which is a hospital / emergency response unit. And he runs his own department, which is the diagnostics department.
No!
Because he specializes in diagnosing people with the craziest, weirdest, you'd never guess conditions ever.
Yeah,
so,
he's a weirdo.
Yeah. So essentially,
Stop it.
my brain froze.
It's because I'm fighting a battle over here.
Yeah, for real. So, and he has these 3 students that he's teaching they're like they're kind of like interns, I guess. Maybe they are actually interns, I don't know. Cameron, Chase, and Foreman. We hate Foreman.
Foreman's the worst.
We're not racist. We promise.
Is this a good time to talk about my fanfic?
That will come after I finish explaining.
Okay.
Why didn't you talk about your fanfic last episode?
I forgot that it existed.
Jeez, Piper.
Pull it up on your phone. I can read some.
Okay. So, yeah, he's got these 3 interns, and every episode is like a standalone, kind of, but they still have, like, bits of an overarching plot. And they will get these patients, and nobody knows what's wrong with them. They have the weirdest symptoms. Nobody can figure out, like, what they have, but,
House can.
And through many mishaps and lots of, false diagnoses, House almost always usually eventually figures out what they have in, like a light bulb moment. Yeah. And it's a bit of a heavier show for kids. Like, I wouldn't let kids watch it in general. Teenagers, as they get older, it will be fine. Like Piper my age, 16, 14. And of course, with parental guidance. What I really liked, I mean, you kind of either love this show or hate it, and it's because of House himself. He is the snarkiest, most sarcastic, meanest, just the king of comebacks. Like, he's just that kind of character. But he does every so often have his moment to shine, and he always helps his patients, even if he doesn't ever, like, really meet them face to face. He doesn't do that. But yeah, yeah, that's my analysis of House MD. I would recommend it as a show. It's very good. It gets sexual the more it goes on, which I didn't really love because reasons. But yeah, that's House. Okay, Piper, do you want to read your House fanfiction?
Yes.
Oh, House is Gregory Laurie. That's important to preface because he's
Hugh.
kind of, sorry, Hugh Laurie.
I'll censor this.
He's kind of, I guess, like, some people would think he's kind of hot, including Piper.
This is my
So,
censored
this is
version.
Piper's fanfiction that she wrote about Dr. House.
I'm going to censor it, though. This is my point of view. I'm going for a run in the sunshine. The breeze is soft and my baby smooth skin as I take in a sucking breath of fresh air, my gorgeous hair waving in the air. As I head down the path in the park, boys and girls stop and stare at my hot bod as I pass. I give them a wink as I run by. They almost collapse of envy and awe. I pause my intense workout sesh to pant faintly as I stare at a beautiful leaf. Almost immediately after my eyes make contact with it, my eyes roll into the back of my head and I collapse gracefully and beautifully onto the ground with a dull thump. This is House's POV, and keep in mind this is censored. I'm sitting at my desk, depressed and lovesick, but I won't admit it because I'm edgy and crippled. I grab my Vicodin from my coat pocket and tip my head backwards as the pain in my leg
sponsor her.
As the pain in my leg begins to soothe. The medicine is taking effect. I throw a ball at the wall as I think of Cuddy. Her wavy curls shaking in the breeze. Her laugh is like sweet nectar dripping from a tree, and her face is like the sweetest smile of an angel. My door bursts open. Cameron. She's holding a blue file. Oh no, I don't want to work. I'm lazy and on drugs. But a blue file always means a complicated case that I'll only have to guide my team through as they do all the work. She slaps it onto the desk. Who's the victim this time, I say, opening the file. Girl. 13. But there's no way she's that young. She's got the legs of an angel. Cameron runs to the description. So, I scoff, tossing the ball against the wall. She passed around the park, and she's bleeding. I snap to attention. I grab my wickedly awesome cane with flames on it as I limp down the hallway. Karen at my side. Did you do a blood scan? I ask as I limp as fast as my half-dead leg can go. Clean. We open the sliding glass door, and I spot the girl in the bed. Although she looks pale, her face is beautiful as heck. I'm in shock for a second, and I catch her eyes. We enter an intense staring match, and the electricity between us is undeniable. Forget Cuddy. This girl is the one. And then I'm gonna skip it because
Again, 13-year-old and he's like 40.
I think I am going to skip to
Me?
the part where Foreman gets.
Oh yeah, we just don't like Foreman. We don't like Foreman a lot. What about me?
Oh, you're in this? Oh yeah,
Pepper.
I forgot I put Molly in this. Okay, Molly has a bit of a POV in this. I'm screeching down the highway at 120. The cops can't catch me. I'm off the system now. My only concern is my sister. She's dying, and if I don't give her her daily otter pop, she'll never forgive me. I slam my foot into the gas and do a 180 into the exit lane as cars screech to get out of the way. That must mean you were driving backwards, or you either are going into being backwards.
Can we just actually both are equally appealing?
The hospital is normally 30 minutes, but I've made it in 5. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I'm a wanted driver, but when I need to get there, I get there. I park my car in one of the handicapped parking spaces and dash out of the car, my bag of things for Piper over my shoulder. I race into the hospital, shoving aside nurses and doctors left and right. I forgot to ask where her room was. I grabbed the nearest woman. Where is she? I demand, glaring at her. Calm down. What are you talking about? She asks, confusion dripping in her tone. Don't play coy with me. Where is Piper? She points upstairs. I set my foot into her crotch, and as she doubles over in pain, I throw myself up the stairs. I crash into a man with a cane, and I fall to the ground. The tools in my bag, the otter pops, chainsaw blade, tape, and Milky Way candy bar all spill to the ground. I scramble to my feet as the man is rubbing his leg, popping a pill into his mouth. I throw my stuff into the bag as I glare at him. That way, slugger. He points with his cane to the door behind him on his left. I dash in to it. There's Piper. She's dead. I rush to her side and begin sobbing. She's dead. No! I feed her an otter pop into her dead mouth and she begins coughing. You're alive, I gasp. I was sleeping, she coughs. My bad, I giggle. I notice for the first time the female doctor in the room who's looking at a clipboard. I assume you're Molly? Piper's older sister? She eyes me. Got that right, sweet cheeks. I wink. Are you sure? You two don't look much alike. She squints at Piper and I. She has a point. I have long hair with glasses while Piper has none and has short hair. An African-American man walks in. Are you guys sisters? You look almost exactly alike, he speculates. I slap him across the face. How dare he say that? Get out, turd, I shout. He hurries out of the room. Who is that? I ask the doctor. She shrugs. That's Foreman. Nobody likes him. I'll keep it at that. I'll end it there.
Oh, but there's more. There's so much more.
Do you find the best part and I'll read it?
All the best parts are about me.
Find the one with the foreman.
Foreman?
Where he's getting, harassed by House.
How about when House proposes to you?
Oh, yes!
No, here.
I think it's vice versa. I never expected the proposal, but yet I find myself unsurprised. Either her hormones are all out of whack, or I'm even more beautiful than I realized. As I limp away, I hear a strangled cry of pain and despair. Clearly, my lack of response is affecting her. Foreman is laying in the middle of the hallway, clutching his bleeding stomach, which Piper had whacked with my cane only seconds earlier. Oh, nurse, we have a damsel in distress over here. I wave to a nurse nearby who rushes over to diagnose Foreman. What happened? Oh, it's Foreman. The nurse, clearly realizing there is no importance, returns back to her duties. I smirk. Foreman is naturally hated by everyone. Of course, the hospital isn't racist. Foreman is just exceptionally stupid and annoying. He looks up at me, pain.
To preface, he's not stupid in the show, he's just kind of a jerk.
He looks up at me, pain in his eyes. Get help! He grits his teeth in pain. I toss him a Band-Aid from my jacket and toss it at his face. It falls into the growing puddle of blood at his side and is almost instantly soaked. Oh, come on, you big baby. You really need me to kiss it better? I grin and turn on my heel to go to the office when I'm stopped by Cuddy. What's going on? I got reports of someone injured in the hallway by your cane, Cuddy demands, pointing a finger at my chest. Do you want to get fired? This hospital is practically a lawsuit waiting to happen. Easy, killer. The little incident is just a little scratch. He'll be fine. I jerk my head backwards towards Foreman's body. She peers to the side to see him now unconscious on the floor. Oh, you could have just told me it was Foreman. She gives his body the finger before briskly turning and walking away.
Wait, the next one is Molly's POV.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
And, those are the best.
I'm sitting at a desk in the hospital. I've been told my pipe...
Oh, that's it? No! I know there was another Molly scene.
No, it's not.
There was, I know it.
I feel like you tried to
Gosh darn it.
hit on Wilson or Foreman.
Your idea was that I hit on Wilson. Okay,
Wilson!
Well, that's her House MD fiction, and that was my House MD analysis. Piper, it's your turn.
Oh, I just, spoke for, 5 years. I'm coming. Okay. Oh, I want to talk about my shark movie, 48 Meters Down, Uncaged. This movie, Molly's kind of watched it. So is my mom. I'm really the only one who's, watched it. But it's a movie about these girls who go, snorkeling and... Well, not snorkeling, because they have oxygen tanks. They go diving in, this underground,
Snorkeling is with oxygen tanks.
Oh, they go underground snorkeling with, in, this Mayan underground city, but, the entrance collapses behind them. Or I think it's just because they can't see anything, so they just try to find their way around. And they're swimming around, trapped in this Mayan, maze city with, these great white sharks that are blind because it's so dark down there, but they have really good hearing. And basically, everyone dies in the first 5 minutes except for the two main characters, if we're being honest.
Oh, spoilers.
Well, you don't know which ones.
Jeez. You gotta go longer than that. I'm really carrying this episode.
Sorry. Okay. So, it starts off with this girl getting pushed into a pool by the bullies, and I think either she or her sister is adopted into the family. I'm not sure. I think she's the one adopted into the family. And when she gets home, her dad's like, oh, tomorrow you and your sister are gonna go on this great white shark glass bottom boat ride. And they're like, no, I don't want to. But he's like, you have to. And so they go, and when they get there, the older sister's friends arrive in a Jeep. And they're like, come on, who cares about this? We're going to go hide at a place that you don't want to miss. And so the two sisters go with them, and they find this, deep in, the woods or the jungle or whatever. I'm pretty sure it's a jungle. There's, this hole in the ground, and it leads to, this giant, water. It's like a lake, but it's sunken into the ground by a lot. And there's a raft on it, and there's a scene with them chilling, and then they're like, come on, we're gonna go snorkeling in the underground city. If anything goes wrong, that's fine, your dad is down there, because their dad worked to find the thing, so he's mapping it for tourists or whatever. And so they grab snorkeling gear, which was left there for them, I think. And they go down, and they're swimming around, and then all of a sudden they accidentally kick up sulfur, or something. And it, makes everything, you can barely see, everyone's coughing. And then the assistant of the dad comes, and he's like, oh, guys, are you okay? We gotta get back. And then he gets mercilessly attacked by a great white shark, and that's the end of him. But I won't go on too long, because I could probably sell a lot of spoilers. And that was a spoiler that I just said, but I had to say it for the sake of carrying the video, even though we're, 35 minutes in. So...
more TV shows. I feel like I had a top 3 a while ago. Do you remember what it was? I know it was House MD, The Good Place, and something else. No, not Wednesday. Arcane! Let's talk about Arcane! Boy, what a great TV show. 100% Rotten Tomatoes, like, come on now. I think it won an Emmy. It's so good, guys. It's, I never really played League of Legends, and I don't really intend to, but I still, like, I decided, I was seeing, like, all the hubbub over it, and I was like, you know what? Let's watch it. So I did, and, it was amazing. It's basically, it's one thing I really loved is it's kind of like 3 movies because it's split into, most people call it Act 1, Act 2, and Act 3 because it's 9 episodes and each is about 40 minutes. So really, it's like 3 full-length movies, and they really feel like it too. The first act is about Vi and Powder, who are sisters who are adopted by this guy. There's 2 main cities in this show, Piltover and Zon. And basically, Piltover is like steampunk kingdom, super cool place. And directly underneath it, like in the sewers and stuff, is they call it the Undercity or Zon. And it's that's where Vi and Powder come from, and they're 2 adoptive brothers, Milo and Clagger. All 4 were saved by Vander, who was like a kind of a champion of the Undercity. He was a really great warrior. Everyone loves him, but now he's kind of retired. He's trying to lay low for the sake of, he doesn't want anyone in the Undercity to get hurt by the people from the Upper City. So he's kind of given up fighting, and he runs a bar called The Last Drop. And Vi is like really spitfire. She's great. She's the older sibling. And her thing is she just hates how oppressed the Undercity is, and she wants to fight back. And then Powder, who's the younger sibling, and she is an inventor, so she makes little trinkets and stuff, but they usually don't work. Until they do, and everything goes wrong. I won't explain all that, but basically, the next 3 episodes are, following the incident that she created, and everyone's about, 5 to 6 years older, and Vi and Powder, who now goes by Jinx, have not seen each other for years. Jinx has gone to work for who is now her father figure, Silco, who's like the mafia boss of the underworld, or Undercity. Okay. And then Vi was taken to prison, so she's been there for a long time. She just kind of got kidnapped. And at the same time, we see, like, it's one of those stories where you meet a bunch of different characters. And you also meet, Jace and Victor. In the first 3 episodes, Jace, had been tinkering with, like, magic, which is a big no-no. And he once, thanks to the sisters, he got found out and thrown out of the academy that he worked in. And he was about to do the big, he was about to commit unalive. And then Victor, who was the assistant of the professor of the academy, came in, and they kind of made partners and snuck back into the academy to recover all of Jace's lost work. And they kind of, like, figured it out. And since they figured out how to, like, combine magic and science, they were allowed to start, like, you know, working through that industry. And they became, like, really famous inventors by the next 3 episodes. So they're trying to figure out how to revolutionize this, what they call hex tech. But Victor is, he's sick, so he's really, they have differing, motivations. Jace is more the typical political figure, in Piltover by now. Victor doesn't really get much credit, but he's the one who really, I would say, works harder on it. Like, he spends all his time doing it because he's trying to figure out a way to save himself from his sickness. And basically, you know, as happens, eventually all the storylines collide. Characters meet other characters, stuff happens, people die. But the storytelling is masterful, and the animation style is wonderful. Puss in Boots basically stole from it.
Didn't I, you liar?
I'm not lying. Yeah. Go watch it.
And that about wraps it up for today's episode.
Oh, look at that.
On Crack. And I need a joke. Which basically, I realized that the jokes that I say on my podcast are like my joke for the week. So I have to make it a good one. Okay, so there was this man digging in his garden. And he was... Okay, so there's this man digging in his garden in his backyard. And he thinks to himself, I wonder why I'm digging in my garden. Maybe I should go find my wife and ask her. And then he remembered why he was digging in his garden. Did I deliver that wrong?
I was completely zoned out.
He killed his wife and he buried her in his garden. Ha ha!
Oh.
That's my funny joke.
Okay, well, snarl then.
Start laughing!
Ha!